Ladies and gentlemen, you are not listening to an episode of The Rest of the Review. We're not recording this one. That's right. On totally uncensored podcast. Dylan and I are doing no trousers.
Hello,
Dicks
my
out.
name is Dylan Tate. That is John Tate. We are the Tate twins.
Ladies and gentlemen, this wrestling podcast is, of course, coming to you from Bulgaria, because as we all know, when you're doing an internet television show in a former Soviet country, time to watch the fuck out.
We are from Morocco, not Morocco. We will not be cucked. Yell at women, grab them, taking back masculinity.
You know what I do whenever I see a woman? I rate them. 1 out of 10.
Rate them. 14.
10.
Damn it. No one's higher than a 5.
Exactly. Unless you're
Except
with
my
me,
mom,
then
because
you're
I want
a
to
10.
fuck my own
I add
mom.
5 points because I'm so hot. That's what I say.
Honestly, on the basis, our podcast is about retaking masculinity, but really under it is just trying to convince our moms to fuck us. That's the whole thing. Here's a step-by-step guide how to cuck your dad.
Yeah. First things, hey, something I know about my dad, sometimes I put rice in his drinks, and he just doesn't drink enough.
Yeah, I think he's like a bird. I think he'll just explode if he eats too much rice.
Yeah, that's right. Imagine, also, you know what's so crazy is that people are going to look back in 10 years and they're like, wow, I was an incel in there for a bit. You know what I mean? Like someone who's just middle management at an advertising firm.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Is going to be like, fuck, oh man, that was a neo-Nazi. Jesus. Wild time. Absolutely. Fucking swastika tattoo. I had to have a Tom Petty and the Heartbreaker symbol on my chest. What a time. Anyway, let's get that quarterly report in before Friday. I'm taking Janet to the beach where I have to wear a t-shirt so people don't see all my swastika tattoos because I was a neo-Nazi. I'll tell you who's not a neo-Nazi, Dylan. Allison Gott. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Your middle name is Allison. Jillian Hall was not a neo-Nazi. I'm going out on a limb, although convicted of a DUI in 2018, and I assume it was some sort of sad misunderstanding.
Dewey. It's a Dewey ain't nothing. People listen to this show got a couple Deweys.
Yeah. By the way, as I've stated on the Patreon, if you are part of the Patreon and
That's
you
all
have not had a
DUI means.
you are not welcome on the Patreon.
Oh no, what's happening?
You're frozen again. Dylan,
John's
frozen again?
internet is cucking him. Well, this is the fun part about doing this podcast is that afterwards I get to just find out whose internet cucked who. John's just deep chugging a Perrier. That's good. That's good podcasting.
That's right.
Just deep, passionate. The best Perrier comes when you put your entire mouth over the spout.
Gun water because of your bullshit.
Sorry,
Your
pardon
bullshit.
me. Oh, I have to get my Perrier in my ass first through my mouth.
Dylan, do you want to restart and see? I'll restart my internet. Maybe hardwire it? No. There's nothing else on the internet.
No, don't worry about it. I mean, let's just keep on going. Who cares? No, people, the 8 people that try this podcast out are vastly outweighed by the people who frankly expect this.
Very good. Let's say this about drinking Perrier. Sometimes you're very thirsty because the world is coming to a climate end, and you live in Southern California where it's 45 degrees at 7 p.m. at night. And you're like, yeah.
Is it 45 degrees?
Yeah, I think it's like 35 right now, and it's like the sun is very much setting, and it should be like 15. And it's like, no. We will be engulfed in flames, Dylan, is what I'm saying. And you know who else will be engulfed in flames?
Oh, no, I want to tell you, I got the microphone. I don't know if it works because the lady, as I was buying it, which is good, there's a $90 one, a Shure microphone. That's a good brand, right,
That's
John?
right.
Would you agree? A Shure microphone is a good
Certainly.
brand?
Endorsed by Henry Rollins and others.
This one, the price is still on it. You can see for the patrons here, $20. Right?
Oh, of course.
This is a Super Pro. This is a Super Pro microphone.
Better than Shure, because Sure is good, but this is a Super Pro.
This looks like it was in an abusive relationship in the 40s.
This is a classic
this thing looks like it's
move, ladies and gentlemen. Because let me tell you something about Dylan Gott. You know what Dylan Gott is? He is someone who likes to cut a corner financially, but always gets burned. Always does.
Dude, I want to walk through. This will be a little documentary I'm going to put together called the Just I have nothing like really. I have a bunch of t-shirts, but that's it because I'm like very much like I want to like I mean I'm built like I moved every year for like in my 20s. I think I moved every single year for like 6 years. And that was in Toronto the whole time. I just moved to a different place for some reason. I was like, no, you don't stay there. You move to a different part of the city. And I definitely just have like as the main thing I own just like a box of cords that like I have 900 Samsung chargers for like, and not for the new ones.
Of course. Listen, the amount of I still have the
I could
old
charge a flip phone
rectangular Apple charger.
Yeah. That's the thing is like men used to have. This is the thing. Baby boomers had enough money that they could have a shed where it's like, here's my tools. I know how to fix everything. Millennials, we have no money, so it's just like, here's my cords. Here's all the cords. You ask a millennial man, like, hey, I need to charge this weird thing. They just, like, get so excited and be like...
Oh, fuck yeah. Wait a minute. You need to charge a fucking BlackBerry? Come with me.
You want to charge a Motorola Razr? Anyway, so as I'm buying this microphone, I'm like, this is a pretty good purchase. And then the lady was like, oh, your son is very cute. It's your son, right? And he's not a girl? I'm like, if you think he's a girl, then who cares? I mean, I just take it as a compliment. And then she said, you never know what to say nowadays with all these bullshit genders. And I said, of course. What? And then she said, there's 2 genders. And I was like, what does this have to do with selling me a $20 fucking microphone? And then I remembered, oh, yeah, that's who sells $20 microphones.
There we go.
You pay for everything in some way is what I'm saying.
That's correct. Because you know who's buying
You want something to keep your political opinions to yourself? That's going to cost you $50.
Exactly. Wrestling podcasters. And guess what else? The next thing over from wrestling podcasters, and that is people that are supporting the Tate brothers and or conspiracy theorists. And that lady has been listening.
The Tate brothers got big. So every time something like that happens, I was like, fuck, I wish we were like you would always be like, I hope no one finds our early episodes or we're fucked. I'm like, that would court a new audience that I would love. We're taking back masculinity in wrestling or whatever.
I will say I very much have softened. There was a time where I was like, Jesus Christ. And now I'm kind of like, well, whatever.
What do you mean softened? Oh, you mean like nothing matters?
That's right. I've become cynical. All I do now is I listen to Nirvana's first album. I just think Kurt maybe had the right idea.
That's honestly crazy. I think like Hillary Duff's first album is so good, but like her later stuff when she went commercial.
To a lot of.
Like Lizzie McGuire.
Let me say this right now. Not enough is made of Hillary Duff and Miley Cyrus's early work. Pop hooks with lyrics you think about, Dylan. You think about them.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Climate change is bad.
Yeah. Partying.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's Rebecca Black.
That is Rebecca Black. I always do that.
Everyone fucking hated.
Pardon me, you hate Rebecca Black?
Remember when everyone was like, look at this fucking bitch. She was the first person to get like full internet rage where it was like, look at this fuck. Just I want to feel the foot.
It cut out, so I don't know what you said, but let me say this about
both of our internets got cucked.
It was the greatest bit in the history of.
Is that you want to just call this the chat episode? Because we haven't done anything about Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, we can call it a chat episode.
This is the chat episode.
Gyllenhaal is tomorrow. Let me say this about the because I was trying to figure out how to. I was about to try and lose it back.
Try.
Not going to. Opie and Anthony's greatest bit was the song Friday. Everyone's, that amazing song. On Fridays, if someone mentioned Friday, they would play that song. And it got to the point that they were like, everyone hated the bit, but they just did it so much. Oh my God, it was so in the ground. Friday. What you want? Oh my God, it's in my head. Oh,
Getting
I love
down on Friday.
Dylan, wrestling is absolutely crazy. I gotta say,
it's crazy. It's turned upside down. I'd like to do something. I think we should do an episode where we watch the last episode of Raw that Vince produced, and then we watch in just 6 months later. We should watch back to back. We should watch Triple H's episode. We need to figure it out. No, the last hour we should say. Okay, good. Then it's manageable. There's no I just thought there's no fucking goddamn way I'm sitting through 6 hours of fucking wrestling.
Absolutely not. That said, we also need to complete the McMahon saga now that he is retired, and we have to.
He's dead.
We have to do a 2021 and a 2022.
Oh God. Yeah, sure. I mean, 2021's just being like the year of Austin Theory. You should just watch all of his weird Austin Theory segments where he's just
genuinely think
he's
that Austin
legally
Theory was
insane.
Blood bag. Hey,
Yeah.
listen to me right now. I think that Austin. So here's what I think happened: is Vince McMahon got driven mad by the idea of aging, and then just went fuck crazy in that fucking building. Never left. Became a crazy person and was blood bagging himself with Austin Theory, and that's why he kept Austin Theory around. Austin Theory has relief in his eyes now because Vince McMahon is not measuring him. Austin, what did you eat? Avocados, more iron for Vinny.
Yeah, that's a guy who I would love. I would love Vince McMahon to be made a full villain so we could get some stories so people didn't have to.
I would like to point out the man.
really
I consider
code
Vince
what's
McMahon a full villain now that he's paid.
But to everybody, not like the way when everyone kick fucks you when you're absolutely down on the ground and everyone can score one off your corpse. Do you know what I mean? Like Weinstein.
Yeah.
There were a lot of guys that Harvey Weinstein probably spoke out against him, and he was like, that guy was fucking nice to me every single time I talked to him. Because, you know, people are fucking... Some people are just straight up cowards.
For sure. Wait, what? Say your point again.
No one should have turned on Harvey Weinstein. Well, my point is that people...
Vince McMahon, it's not as definitively as a drop as much as like Harvey Weinstein's like in jail. It's a decisive like fuck this guy. There is it's definitive proof. While you're saying with Vince McMahon, it's like he's fired and there's a lot of like there's SEC investigations.
Let's not talk about it as Vince McMahon.
Pardon me?
They're not going to get into it because delving into it completely would. It's like fucking. Oh my God, the Penn State, Jerry Sandusky. What Jerry Sandusky did was bad, but obviously the understatement of the fucking century. But then it's like all the other people who were like, hey, this guy's fucking all the kids. And everyone was like, yeah. But like this defense is humming, bro. So like then there's all those people.
Jerry is doing that because I am trying to ignore that Jerry is doing that. I am Joe Paterno.
Pardon me. There's some loud slapping going on. I can't hear you.
Yeah, so I'm trying to concentrate on football and drown out the noise of Jerry, I assume, showering by himself and screaming. So I don't understand why I need to talk about something that I'm trying to ignore. My name is Joe Paterno.
He can change his stream every day. It's
crazy moments in my life was when I was like, wait a minute. So people at this university are angry that this old weird coach was fired, even though he was like, what's that noise? The sound of 1,000 children crying because they've all been attacked and fucked by this guy who works for me?
It's fucking crazy.
Better say nothing because he's good at defense. Fuck you, Joe Paterno. Fuck your weird son. Fuck your weird shitty house with like a fucking glass door like Devin had when I was in elementary school. You're fucking out. Go fuck yourself. That's right. I said it.
Well, it's crazy too. Like
on the Joe Paterno topic, and I am anti-Paterno. Dylan, you thought I might be pro-Paterno. I am not.
That's true.
Go ahead.
But like, how many Paternos are there in wrestling? A, and B. I was thinking about this.
Let me say this: the WWE should be called the.
It's just nothing Paternos. We're Paternos.
APW, All Paterno Federation.
All Japan Paterno Wrestling. We're all Paternos.
That's a British company, right? It's at the BBC. Oh.
But like, how many Paternos are there in wrestling? Legit, like, where guys like Bruce Pritchard
Paterno.
just being
Bruce
Pritchard is a proud one though, and he'd be like, he's one of those serial killers you catch, and then he smokes, and he's like, "You missed Becky," and then he puts the cigarette out. You know what I mean?
What took you so long?
He's trying to fucking finish his last meal over the course of hours. Like, I haven't stopped chewing. Doesn't count as being over yet.
I want to know what Bruce Pritchard, like, because Bruce Pritchard, I guarantee.
I don't want to know what Bruce Pritchard knows. It would.
Oh my god! Bruce, I guarantee Stephanie McMahon walked into Bruce Pritchard's office, closed the door, and went, "Look, you can keep your job, but we're going to." And he just went, "Not talk about what I know, correct?" And then she was like, "Yep, that's great."
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is the thing that that we'll never know is the day when Stephanie McMahon. Fucking, it's so crazy how this happened. But basically, do we still know how it was discovered? Because that's the thing that will always fucking, I wonder who fucking found this.
What was discovered? Oh, why were the NDAs?
Yeah, the NDAs are the payments.
So here's my question: Isn't it crazy that Vince is? I mean, we said this before, but isn't it crazy that what Vince really wanted is the thing that killed him in the end? Because if they wouldn't have gone like public or done any of this shit, then he'd still just be fucking NDA and everybody. He'd grab a dick and just be like, "Ooh, that was squishy," or
oh my God.
I thought, and then just
Do
NDA
you
that guy.
understand how insane the Ruthless Aggression era would have gotten if he was not a publicly traded company? Like Ric Flair, the Player Night of Hell would have been filmed and shown as a Raw.
It's a very interesting thing. I don't know.
Would have appeared on television. Mr. Perfect's body would have been eviscerated by Wolverines to start a feud between Triple H and Batista.
Oh yeah,
understand?
Katie Vick segment.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
The Katie Vick segment would have been with one of the with an actual body that died in 9/11.
Yes, of course. Oh, the Muhammad Hassan would actually take place in Afghanistan during the holiday for the troops, and surprise, he actually is with Al Qaeda.
Yeah, well, Muhammad Hassan would have been this brand new wrestler named Osama bin Laden. He's got a lot of size.
I got news for you. And the Saudi Arabia shows would have taken place with Jamal Khashoggi's bloody bits from a fucking chipper in a box above the ring. That Kane dumps on the Undertaker at the end of the fucking pay-per-view. If that was a private company, let's all be happy.
But this is the thing about Vince. I guarantee, like they all these dudes thought he's like this fucking weird carny guy is hanging out, and then but it's like he kind of lives the life that they want to, where it's like this guy just fucking worked with Saudi Arabia immediately, and they're all kind of like, wow, and he just does that, and he's like, yeah, whatever, I got ideas for characters. Anyway, here's one.
It's essentially what it is Vince McMahon was the CEO that Jack Donaghy described in 30 Rock. Like essentially, like the board was just his hunting dogs and his various children. He did whatever the fuck he wanted.
Vince McMahon would, we were joking about it, but Vince McMahon would literally go on the Tate Brothers podcast and they'd be like, this is a real man. And he'd be like, you guys are both pussies. What is this? And they'd be like, that's a microphone. He's like, you need these? I just talk loud. I talk loud enough that everyone hears me. And then he would eat the microphone, hand them both NDAs, and they'd be like, what? And he'd be like, you'll see. And then
the first thing he would do, by the way,
then we'd all would be able to comprehend the horrible.
Why isn't there a logo on this? Vince McMahon doesn't understand anything, doesn't have a logo on it.
Oh yeah. Why haven't you branded it?
Yeah.
Honestly, what I wanted to do in wrestling, which they wouldn't let me, is speak in my own branded language. Universe Superstar.
Well, that's why we refer to fans as cum monkeys, TM, so we can copyright and patent that.
Yeah, except we do that off and on, and also we've basically been like, we can't make shirts because then it's just a monkey jacking off.
That's true. That said, it was really enjoyable in Edinburgh. The amount of cum monkeys that did come up, and all of them did exactly what makes my day every time, which is put money in my bucket or walked up and was like, oh, I bought a ticket as they're leaving the monkey barrel. And then they lean in and go, I'm a cum monkey, by the way. And I always go, yeah, and always if they're with a girl, the girl always like looks at them like, you said cum, didn't you? I mean, like,
we are four men.
The best.
We're taking back masculinity, but not in the way anyone wants.
Exactly. We're returning it to 2009 masculinity. Jizz.
Not on yourself. Leave the house.
You ribbons.
Yeah, exactly. Pabst Blue Ribbons. I forgot about that. When everyone convinced themselves that was a good beer.
Oh my God. I still enjoy it. I got to say this. I am a man who likes taxi cab tastes because everyone, like, again, my favorite cigarette of all time, the Canadian Classic. You can't beat it. I haven't smoked in 2 years, never going to smoke again. But if you're thinking of smoking,
I always smoke Next.
Canadian Classic.
I smoked Next.
Oh, yes, you did.
I just like that because that's 4 people that smoke a lot. It's named Next. It's like next. I finished this one. Now I get to have my fucking next one. I'm going to die tomorrow. Let's fucking go.
Dylan, how do you feel about not smoking anymore? I'm very impressed that both of us have quit smoking, and I think it's forever.
Yeah, we used to smoke on this podcast. There's episodes where we're both smoking in a house.
Oh my God, thank God.
That's fucking crazy. I didn't even think about that. We were both like drunk and smoking and being like, yeah, the honky tonk man was a real pussy.
Recorded in a hotel room that I don't think was ever released.
Hammered, yeah.
Us in Leicester. Oh my God, getting ripped.
Oh yeah,
Dylan and
go
John
into a
getting ripped
fucking
and
what's
telling
it called?
secrets. Oh my god, the unrecorded chat episodes we used to do just about our souls.
Who was that when we were in that Weatherspoons and the guy went, "You're a fine young lass" to the lady who was
Oh yeah,
serving, and then he fucking licked the whole seat. He went,
yeah. And then Dylan
Tastes
was like,
like
you know, you
pussy.
could just
That's what he
smell
said.
the seat. And he was like, thanks, McCock. It was the Midlands.
And he went, that's the worst one of the senses. And then he ate the seat.
This is something that I did not remember about the UK until I was there for 2 months. How damp everything is unnecessarily. Everything is just a bit wet always.
Oh yeah. Why you can't talk about fucking licking a seat and then go right to dampness, John?
I certainly can. I'm turning the lights on in this room because I thought the sun was going to remain out longer, and it sure isn't. And what a creepy ass video podcast we've created. Dylan, I want all your thoughts on the Trios title. I want your thoughts on what do you think is going to happen with Ring of Honor? Oh, Dish.
Ooh.
And let's wildly speculate what Triple H is going to do with NXT. I'll be right back.
The most interesting thing is what happened with AEW now that they clearly don't really have a strategy for what they're doing with their entire product, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want to sound too much like a fucking poon bag, but like, they signed all these dudes, which is great, but like, they don't really have a strategy clearly. Like, how long has it been since Samoa Joe was on their television? Rampage is. It feels like AEW needs another hour of programming. It feels also like Tony Khan needs to. We talked about this in our Tony Khan episode, but he's clearly got too much on his plate. The Jaguars suck. Their football team sucks, and now AEW is going to suck because
I agree with you.
He's a control freak who kind of like. I mean, he's a capable dude. But like, Dad gave him toys, and now he's playing with them.
It's also that thing of it's the company has grown one size too large, and they actually do need to bring in proper management to control that locker room and stuff like that. The backstage scuttlebutt over the whole sort of CM Punk, Adam Page, kind of thing should have been solved by like sort of proper sort of low level management over the roster of like. Yeah, I understand you guys may have a personal disagreement. Are you going to work together or not? No. Okay, we need to figure this out and plan accordingly, not have a surprise happen in the ring. And also, like, there needs to be accountability no matter who the fuck you are. And I think we're either going to see that now and it's turning into a storyline. Now with Ace Steel picking up the contract I saw on social media, stuff like that. Like, we're going to sort of see how AEW develops. I'm not going to totally write them off completely, but I do agree with you that it's not.
They're still much better than all the wrestling we've had. It's just now the fun part is we were doing this when AEW was new, and it was like, holy shit, like storylines that pay off and make sense. And now it's like, okay, we kind of expect this like C to B level product, and now we're like, okay, now it's time to nitpick and like be a fucking straight up A product. And there's shit that like Kenny Omega, where it's like he does his big comeback thing, and it's like we're old men, so we're gonna sound a bit like Cornette, but it's like he's still has a fucking ironic intro and shit, and it's like just let everyone be excited that the badass is coming back to fuck everybody up. Don't be like.
Also, why did he come back in a
ditch that? Go for it.
Why did he come back in a summer?
I have no idea.
In a weird long shirt. I hated that so much.
In what's it called? In a rash guard.
Yeah. What are you worried about? Were you worried about ringworm? You fuck. Get in the ring.
Maybe
take it off.
He has staph infection and he wanted to come back, but I mean, then don't come back.
Don't come back. It's not the Attitude Era. We don't need you. Also, like, and I completely agree with you that it's the presentation of AEW needs to adjust a little bit. I don't want to sound like someone old man yelling at the clouds. But like, honest to fucking God, what they need is micromanaging. They need a little tiny fucking bit of production in terms of going, where are we going in a year? And not these like sort of the long storylines they kind of do really well, but they need to pick up the pace on certain things. And also stuff is getting confused and lost, as well as there's a lot of eyes on them and they need to start paying off stuff. MJF needs to come back if that's the direction they're going in. Do you understand what I'm saying? Holler if you hear me. Dylan. Do you hear me?
But I don't know. I don't know anything about the MJF thing, and they're doing like, I guess, like 2 work shoots now with the Punk and Page thing and the MJF thing, where it's like, and then who's MJF against? Tony Khan himself?
Oh my God!
MJF
Imagine
against the whole
if Tony
promotion.
if Tony Khan has gone nuts and he goes full Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo. He's the AEW champion by this time next year. Jim Cornette turns out to be right. Triple H buys AEW, kills the Young Bucks.
I still think like they did it. They did like a lot of shit where the first chapter of a lot of their stories were good when they were like, here are the 4 pillars: Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, MJF, and Darby Allin. Sammy Guevara people didn't like. MJF may not do any wrestling with AEW anymore, and Darby Allin has been cooled off because, like, I thought about this the other day, but it's like anyone would have been so fucking pissed if the WWE did what they're doing with Darby Allin and Sting. Everyone would be pissed where it's like they get all the heat on the old guy. The old guy's always saving Darby. Like, basically, it's like this angle with teaming Darby and Sting has just made Sting come back, and now Darby is just like Sting's flop around guy. Where it's like
but what I think you're going to see is how they eventually break up that team is going to be very interesting. I think that they need to have Darby basically join one of their 3 versions of the Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness. Also, they need to not have reciprocal stables. And I do think if they had Darby Allin...
NWA had like 90 stables, but they were all different, and some of them were like, it's lower mid-card heel stable. I'm Paul Jones.
Yeah, I'm Paul Jones, and this is my army. And this is
got a fucking... He's bad because he likes pasta too much. He has it in the morning. That's weird, right? Well, we've run out of characters.
Yeah, welcome Pasta in the Morning, Pete. And his tag team partner, Meat in the Morning, Michael. I like to meet you in the morning. Oh, that has nothing to do with meat. I thought it was like a food-based thing. No, that's just when I like to meet people. What a terrible wrestler.
All my plans in the morning.
Yeah, I meet people in the morning, Michael.
Do you want to hang out at 8? I meet a.m. Boo.
Yeah. Not even for coffee. I've already had coffee by 8. I'm meeting the morning, Michael.
Yeah, sit down in a restaurant. It's busy because everyone's getting takeout. We're ordered in. The waiter or waitress, they don't want us in there.
Yeah, we can meet around 11. Have lunch. That's when I have my lunch.
This is Eat Out Dogs Andy. That's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I like dog pussy. It's not as much work as the other 2 first guys.
Yeah.
They are like, it's complicated and kind of annoying. I'm straight up. I adopt dogs, I eat them out, and I try and hand it back. They say, you just licked a dog's pussy in front of me. And I say, why are you saying dog's pussy? You're sexualizing dogs. But the whole time they're thinking about how they said pussy, I'm eating out another dog. Ha ha, 2. That's why I want them.
I want this episode played at your son's 18th birthday. This was recorded well into your life.
Hey man, you know what? Yeah. Daddy's got a dad. You know what I mean? Dad's gotta go into the garage and talk about eating out dogs with Uncle John.
Yeah, me and Uncle John. You want to know how I fucking put food on the goddamn table? I talk about eating out dogs with my friend John in the fucking garage, and I was grateful for the fucking patrons. Thank you.
And I was grateful for the cum monkeys or the sperm sluts.
Yeah, that's right. We're creating two warring factions of much like AEW
exactly.
has more than one faction that's just hot topic, but they're badasses.
Yeah, we're like Cumtown, except we just stop talking about. We just don't stop. We start talking about wrestling occasionally.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, is Cumtown still going? Also, let's just say this, and I've enjoyed. It is. The fact that the show was called Cumtown. That's great stuff.
It feels shitty that like this show started, Cumtown started, and it was like what we should have been called the whole time.
Exactly.
We just talked about like people are like, I'd like to know more about the Bushwhackers, and then I'm like, here I am in a ditch covered in piss.
Let me tell you about whacking off in some mush, and that's something that I did when I was in the rural Australia. Yeah,
Oh, really? Did you jack off? What was it? Oh, some guy I know.
I was whacking in the bush. Dylan, I was whacking in the bush. It's the Bushwhackers episode. I was whacking in the bush.
Guard, and I said there was a lot of my friends that were that, and every one of them to a man jacked off at their job. And then he said, that honestly never occurred to me. And I said, that never occurred to you when you were all alone all night to fucking rub some fucking loads everywhere? Anyway, bottom line, he was like, hey, because of that conversation, I jacked off. And I was like, sick, man. I'm glad to be inspiring young minds. There's nothing because you remember what old comedians were like when we started, where it's like, oh, this guy's established, and then he's like, first things first, don't look at me. By the end of the weekend, if I learn your name, that's good. And I'm like I'm like an hour in being like, I highly recommend, chef's recommendation, beating off at work. And then he was like, thank you for your advice, Mr. Gott. I got fired for jacking off, and now I'm on a sex offender list. And I'm like, you're on the right track, kid.
First of all, I want you to know this. I know some of the people that were security guards that you're referencing. It's not a security guard thing. It is a people you are hanging out with.
Three people. It's three people. Actually, only two of them jacked off. Only two of them jacked off. One of them became like an evangelical Muslim for about 4 days, and he was like, I'm gonna quit smoking and drinking. And I said, I don't think you are, man.
Yeah.
And then he didn't, and he was like, turns out I didn't want to quit smoking or drinking. I was like, yeah, dude,
for sure. Yeah,
but like for sure he should have become a Muslim with where he was. He should have stopped smoking and drinking 100%.
I know, but I do enjoy though the people that try and crash diet. I'm coming off of the Edinburgh Festival, and like the amount of things that people said to me in that last week of like, let me tell you what I'm doing when I get home. I'm going vegan. And you're like, you're just not. You're just like, you just want a quick fix, man. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
much like how we
have as much bread.
Oh man, let me tell you, I had so much pizza on the Monday after that fucking festival. It was very nice. I read a lot about.
I miss the crepes. Whenever I think about that festival, I think about doing like 3 shows and then just fucking getting a crepe.
Oh yeah, the crepe stand. By the way, the good crepe stand, not back. It was a shit place called Panquake that can suck my dick. Yeah,
yeah, fucking suck my fucking cock for fucking. Crepes.
Don't fucking have good crepes at the fucking arts festival. We're fucking being bourgeois as fuck here, bro, and our crepes better be fucking quality.
Yes, I'm gonna start my own fucking arts festival that's fucking like very little art.
Mostly crepe.
I'm just gonna sell fucking old sports jerseys, and you're gonna have to do stand up about how they're trying to censor us.
Do you think that? Oh my god, of course.
One woman will be allowed to do a show. But it has
Here's
to
why
be
I'm no longer worried about people.
Shit out her pussy. Go for it.
Exactly. Listening to our earlier episodes, which are best described as two men just variously trying to figure out how to describe a woman shitting out of her pussy, is that if any of those old episodes are discovered, what I've learned from the society now is that just means that we'll both be able to just have very popular podcasts.
You know what the crazy thing is that like I just thought about this, but if you just edited our shows into 2. You could have 2 very separate and very different podcasts that would probably individually be more successful than this one.
100%.
One podcast that's just swearing, and then another podcast that's just wrestling talk.
Of course, but I think I like that we combine it together. I think it's like jazz. You know what I mean? It's very complicated.
It is like jazz.
It's very much
that's a
like
trademark
jazz.
of something that sucks. Just saying it's like jazz.
100%. But everyone just goes, I don't really understand why anyone likes jazz, but let's just agree.
No one's liked jazz in years. So,
I like jazz.
Sure,
I gotta tell you.
Jazz.
I am one of those people that will listen to jazz, and I suck. I'm bad for it. My musical taste has gotten so fucking irritating. Like I just want complex, annoying horns. Oh, John Coltrane
horns are good.
With a bunch of African musicians. Well, this is going to be intensely complex and irritating, and yet I can't stop listening to it. Listening to Sleep's Dope Smoker in a hammock like a cunt, Dylan. I'm a
Oh,
cunt
yeah,
now.
nice. Sleep is good.
Sleep is good. Sleep is real good.
Sleep is really good, especially if you love weed.
Well, let me tell you what I love now.
Weed.
That's right.
It's the old man's drug. You can say that it's for your knees.
Yeah.
It's for my knees.
It's for me getting through this
remind
bullshit.
myself that we die one day, and then I'm like, oh, my knee hurts too. I'm asleep now.
No. Dylan, let me ask you this about current day wrestling.
You talked about the trios tournament. Haven't been watching it. AEW has too many titles for me now. ever since I kind of put together that like even Vince McMahon used talent that like I want to say black talent better than fucking AEW does, especially when like it's clear that like I was thinking about this. I don't know if I said this on the show, but AEW abides by the rules of the WWE as far as the talent that they've imported. Like Moxley was a main eventer. He's a main eventer in AEW. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, exactly.
They haven't really let anyone like rise up. Like Eddie Kingston's rised up. I shouldn't say that. Eddie Kingston has rose up, and they've like.
And Adam Page's rise was great, and then it just never really took off as the champion.
Yeah, that was an example of a story. You talked about no long-term stories. They had a long-term story with Adam Page. It paid off, and then like some of the steam just kind of left.
Well, yeah, it just didn't work. They didn't have a second. They just didn't have a second chapter for him. Yeah, exactly. It was great watching him chase it.
Yeah.
And also, they made him chase it too long. Is the problem? They should have had him win it 3 months earlier.
Yeah, and it felt more like it didn't feel like, oh, he got all these guys out of the way, and now he gets, and there's like all these stipulations and everything's against him, and because everyone who likes AEW loves pro wrestling, and they know exactly how that story is going to end. So the whole thing would have been trying to get the match, trying to get as many false finishes. The whole thing would have been actually convincing the crowd that Kenny Omega had won the match, which would have been burning someone kicking out of the One-Winged Angel, but they didn't do that.
Which I thought they honestly were going to do. To be totally honest, I thought they were going to. I mean,
if you were going to do it, you do it in something like that. Who knows? Maybe no one ever kicks out of it. That'd be fun. That'd be refreshing because everyone kicks out of every fucking finisher except for that one, which is pretty dope.
And the pedigree. Yeah, the pedigree.
But the AEW just picked up too many fucking wrestlers. They can't. And
I completely agree. Where the fuck is the Big Show? Like, someone answer this fucking question for me.
Oh no,
where the fuck is the Big Show?
He's on.
The Other Dark? Is he?
He sucks.
That's so funny. So he's just bad at being a commentator? That's so
Taz
good.
Is good. Excalibur's good. Jim Ross
is crazy.
Jim Ross is crazy, but he can call a match. He's like Jim Ross's book. He talks about how Gordon Solie would come back just for like he'd lay it out and be like, "All right, Gordon Solie's turn," and that's where Jim Ross is now.
Yeah. He's very much the like, okay, like Gordon Solie used to appear on WCW Pro, and it would kind of be like, and now to hear from Gordon Solie, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Exactly. But like, then people don't know Jim Ross, and they're like, who the fuck is this guy? But like, Jim Ross legit sounds silly, but Jim Ross should only call like Powerhouse Hobbs versus like.
I completely agree with you.
Like, two meaty boys, they're meeting up. Oh God, look at all that slapping meats.
He's 100%. There's a time when he calls John Moxley, he's 100% man. He's so wild. Man. Speaking of wrestlers, here he is. He's 100% man. He's all tough. Jim Ross. Let me say this: Jim Ross should describe two men fucking. I think would be
two meaty boys just meeting it up.
Oh
there.
My God!
Man.
Let me tell you, that man right there, he could have gone all pro with that cock, but it's too fat. It slowed him down.
Yeah. He was 100% man, and now he's 200% man because another 100% man is inside of him, and now he's
stabbing his mud hole. He's stabbing his mud hole.
Mud hole? He's stomping his mud hole. He's finishing inside of his mud hole.
Oh my God, he's filling his mud hole.
How is no one ever called an asshole a mud hole?
Mate,
he's stretching.
Now he's filling
his mud hole.
He's filling his mud hole with milk. Good God Almighty. That's a mud hole milk hole.
That's a risky cream man pie. That'd be good. I think he should fucking.
Imagine that's where wrestling ends up in 10 years.
He is crazy.
Yeah, I remember listening to him on some podcast where he talked about just being friends with Jessie Jane. And it was very weird. Oh, well, I'm friends with Jessie Jane, the porn star. Nothing. Not that I haven't seen her nude on video, of course. And you're just like, oh, Jim. Oh, you're a fucking weirdo, Jim.
It feels like, I don't know if I want to come up with a sports analogy for it. I don't have one. But it feels like Jim Ross's prime was in like 95 to maybe like 2010. And then he got signed by AEW, and AEW was like, we're the wrestling nerd promotion. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Vince isn't here anymore. But by that time, like, obviously, he's not only aging, but going through a level of grief that hopefully we'll never know.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you realize that he's not, like, it's not the wrestling that Jim Ross thought it was going to be, because Jim Ross is not the wrestling nerd of now. So when Jim Ross was like, oh my God, it's the wrestling nerd show, that it's just going to be a bunch of really drunk guys beating the actual shit out of each other, and then they're going to go and do coke in the back with me. And then he shows up, and it's just like the Young Bucks doing really crazy flips, and he's like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, this is what we do. And he's like, ah, shit. Like, that's the other thing that's never really spoken, is that Jim Ross did not really do, as we now know, did not do the product knowledge I think he should have done to really and truly be equipped to enter into the AEW oeuvre.
No, but he was a New Japan announcer before that.
I know, but which has always been sort of struck me as, then there's that backstage gossip of he was having trouble with the Young Bucks and other things based off of the quality of matches. You know what I'm saying? Which always confused me, because he was a New Japan.
He would always sit on fucking their shit. We'd be like, why you got to go to the top rope? You should keep it on the ground or something. And it's like, no, man, this is like, and then it's like Cornette says all the time, but it's like, he's just trying to adjust to his commentary to the fact that this is like a weird, flippy pussy boy show now.
What I don't ever understand about that perspective, and it's a thing that really, really bugs me as I get older, is I never understand when people have that tone of voice. They never hear that what they're actually saying is, why isn't this like this when I liked this? Like, it's not the same as what I liked. And it's like, the thing you liked is gone, but we have it preserved on videotape. Yeah.
You can watch it every week and realize it wasn't actually as good. You were just young.
I love ECW so much. So much of ECW is bad. So much of ECW is just, there's one part where you're like, that's awesome. And then everything else, you're like, wait, that show was 4 hours? And you're like, that's right. And you just saw the best part. You're like, okay.
Yeah, like, most of it was like worked punches, and then they just actually cut a guy's head off.
Most of it was also just like people that weren't good at wrestling. Like, it just...
No, but that's why they're around. Like, there were two major companies employing like 40 wrestlers each. That's 80 wrestlers. And
Jack Victory still couldn't get a fucking... Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was, and as we now know, it's essentially ECW was just the OG NXT. Like, what we now know is it was essentially WWE development that no one knew about, which is so weird. Let's do development, but no one. It
wasn't, though, because it wasn't purely that, because they would have just brought Rob Van Dam up just on spec if that was actually it.
Yeah. I don't know, though. Rob Van Dam is the greatest what if ever. Like, there's a few amazing what ifs. If Shane had bought ECW or UFC, holy fuck.
I mean, the what ifs that I think of immediately after the WWE and WCW are, like, I guess RVD, them actually going with RVD and basically being like, okay, the Alliance WWE thing is broken. Let's just push RVD to the moon. Them actually going with Booker T when Booker T got really over. And,
oh my God, yeah.
Them initially going with CM Punk. I think that's another thing where it's like, if they just went with 2007 CM Punk, where everyone, because that was like, the internet is split now. The internet loves a lot of people. Like, online wrestling fans love a lot of people. 2007 CM Punk, every online wrestling fan just loved that guy.
Yeah,
they were like, "This is our fucking guy." Like,
they had two opportunities. I more think of that as the 2011 Punk as opposed to the 2007 Punk. But I take your point of,
but like, when he first came in, they were letting him beat people. He was, I'm straight edge. I am about competition. He had no real character. Like, I agree that, like, he came into his own.
He was doing this terrible. He was doing this terrible.
Yeah, he was doing the Vanderlei Silva thing where it's like, okay, I get it. You watched UFC. But that was the time for that, where it was like everyone's an MMA character because the UFC got big.
Yeah, I hated it.
And if you watch early ECW, he's the only guy beating ECW originals who, like, they don't boo out of the fucking building.
It's a very good point.
And Bobby Lashley was dope too, but, like, I mean, you don't give. I'm gonna get water is just across the room really dumbly here, so you can vamp for 2 seconds. But like, if you just give everyone a chance to learn to like these people, they will like them. But it's like
I completely
the Vince thing
agree.
of like he sees them, he pushes the fucking shit out of them.
Well, it's also that thing of we're now entering into a new paradigm where, for the first time ever, Triple H is going to get to build a roster and field and see what it's like to push and promote and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's again, we've all had some assumptions about what kind of promoter Triple H is going to be, what kind of booker he's going to be. We're now going to bore all of those truths out in the next however many days, weeks, months. And I think that that's going to be very interesting as well.
And like they're gonna get a lot of WWE's gonna get a lot of leeway because like the Seth Rollins the chats are fucking made to be burnt tomorrow. So the Seth Rollins Matt Riddle thing was last week, and they actually like just basically were like, hey, Matt Riddle's a serious character now. And they did the split screen UFC thing, but they did it like really well. And now it's like you're gonna get a lot of leeway because wrestling and not wrestling, but WWE will be a good, or at least make sense for the first time in the better part of 2 decades. It's going to be an entire cohesive product where every single character has goals and has like a unique, or not a unique POV, but a POV at least. It has wants and all this, right? And it's going to be cohesive, and it's going to be like literally the NWA 80s, NXT. It'll be really good for a minute. And then we'll get nitpicky with it like we've been with AEW. Because if we were like this with AEW, like, I mean, before recording this, I just kind of saw the CM Punk Ace Steel promo, and it was like completely normal wrestling. And I was kind of like, oh, I saw this coming. Which is good that you can criticize wrestling for doing that, because in WWE it would have been like, they would have done a contract signing, and then like for some reason, Jon Moxley would have lost a match to the Big Show, who's an announcer, who pinned him with 1 foot, and they would have been like, here's our main event, and then they would have just both lost to like,
and then they would also be like,
Tony
listen,
Khan's dad.
we tried to make this guy bigger, but he couldn't get over, even though we made sure that the Big Show beat him on every show. Like, he couldn't. Fan. I don't understand why no fan got behind this guy. We made sure he lost on all of our programming.
Or not even that, but just shit like Triple H himself would do, which is like, you know,
do a 20-minute promo. This guy doesn't draw any ratings. Well, no, because you're
and then pedigree them, and then they leave the ring, and then the guy's like, "Well, I can't do anything." So
yeah, exactly.
He beat me up, and that's fine because he's too strong to fight. He's 80.
Yeah, life is hell, I guess. Hell is life.
But that's what I'm saying about the Darby Allin Sting shit, where it's like, Sting should be the one who gets beat up, and Darby Allin has to save Sting, like not the other way around. Sting is a 60-year-old man.
What I don't understand about it is, and what I think it is that the bigger guys enjoy it, but Darby looks really good bumping. This is the other problem, is he kind of has this weird sort of, but I agree with you on the Darby Allin Sting thing, but what it is they need to consolidate, and the bigger AEW problem that can be solved very easily is they need to restructure their management. They need to have a cohesive vision of what they're doing for each and every person. And they now need to have a structure implemented so that they're not having situations where like Dave Meltzer is literally jacking off because he gets to write so many articles.
Yeah. And like, who is it?
Also Fightful.com is so fascinating, and that they just figured out, if we just break things, everyone has to say Fightful.com.
There's a guy who Fightful.com. There's a guy who Jack Slack who does UFC things, and he just gets mad at the internet, which is very. It's like if I was friends with him, I'd be exhausted by it. But watching him tweet about it is pretty fun, and he gets really mad at it, which is something we could do. Which is he gets really mad at people where a lot of UFC fans or MMA fake journalist sites will just do I don't know how you do it, but you do red exclamation marks. So you do 2 red exclamation marks, then you do breaking news, and then they announce a fight that's not real. And then they do 2 red exclamation marks, and everyone retweets it and goes, "Holy fuck, is this real?" And then they get a bunch of followers real quick. And there's sites that do that, like, or no. And then there's also the Twitter account's called Ballsack Sports, and they always do. But
fantastic.
They'll be like, via Ballsack Sports, and they've been on ESPN a couple times because people just like report what they say, because they just say stuff that's like
It could be true, but it won't be. Like it's like
but it's not.
Anderson.
Like right now, we
Silva.
would tweet like CM Punk has officially left AEW.
Oh yeah.
CM Punk is officially, or like no, even better. Tony Khan had a disagreement with Adam Page backstage. Adam Page just walked out on AEW. No news on when or if he'll be back.
Oh yeah. Tony Khan.
And people will be like, "What the fuck?"
Tony Khan. Breaking news: Tony Khan just checked into rehab. Oh my god, that would go fucking huge.
That's great. That's a good one.
Yeah.
But you need to have it where someone just kind of wants to believe it. That's the brilliance of it. But like, yeah.
Also, the internet is so crazy. Humanity has been able to ruin every great tool so quickly,
Dude,
and the internet is
so
it is amazing.
I mean, the wheel how quickly after the wheel do you think someone was beaten to death with the wheel?
The same day.
It's just like, oh, I can smash people on the head with this. Like,
hey,
no, it's moving over there faster.
Yeah, and I can run. Then I can run that person over with my fucking cart. I'll fuck
my
you
wheel's
up.
So big, I can fucking fuck you up with my wheel. So quit being.
Yo, stop talking about your big wheel. And then the two people beat the shit out of each other with those wheels. Oh,
you think you're better than me because you got a wheel? Well, fucking suck my ass and then my poonie.
Yeah, exactly. Are you eating out a dog? Yes, I'm a god.
Oh yeah, I'm working on my new wrestling character. I think that's where we should end it. We've gone to the top of the hour now, and now we will do Jillian Hall for
tomorrow.
All the regular feed people.
Are we doing that tomorrow or doing that right now?
Whatever you want.
Let's do it right now. Then we get a Diet Coke and let's jam on.
Yes, end this one, start a new one.
All right, great. Let's see if the internet improves. I'm going to turn off all devices. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this Patreon chat. We love you, Patreons. And thank you, by the way, all of you who did say hello and come to my Ember show. I really fucking appreciate it. It was super, super fun. A lot of you, I'm not going to shout you out by name, but you identified yourselves, and that was really, really fun. Dylan, anything you want to say? Find us on social media.
Yes, actually, I've come to a decision in my fat little life, which is I'm stopped using Twitter. I stopped but like I'm not going to use Twitter very much. Anyway, I'm using YouTube now, and for some reason, Facebook pages. Basically, I'm just clipping crowd work and putting myself online. The long goal is to do my own YouTube stand-up special by next year. Things are looking like I could do that. So please subscribe to me on YouTube just for daily skits of my little things. Some of them will just be because the algorithm wants you to post every day. So it literally might just be a close-up of my asshole, or I'm just going to start like playing career mode on WWE games and fucking posting that, because literally the algorithm just needs to see you posted something, unfortunately.
Yep, life is hell, and we are slaves to the algorithm. You check out me on Instagram, and you can see reels that will be started to be posted daily. Also, my Ember show is filmed and being edited, and that will be released as a YouTube special by I think the end of the year. I know, it's really excited about it, and I'll tell you, couldn't have happened without our friend Dylan Gott, who gave me some lovely notes in May or April.
Yeah. Great. But yeah, I'm really excited for everything coming up. But main thing I'm trying to do is YouTube right now. I don't know why I'm posting on Facebook, because old people use Facebook Reels for some reason.
Yeah, my mom was
it's
like,
crazy.
It's great. She's like, I got locked in on those reels for like 2 hours. It's like wild stuff. Guys, thank you so much for your support and love. We enjoy doing these chat episodes. Now enjoy the Jillian Hall main feed app. Now, unless you're listening to this tomorrow, then you got to wait.
Yeah, there's no way it's not right now, because I'll post this and then days later, Jillian Hall.
Yeah, so it's days, unless you're listening to this in the future.
Enjoy waiting days.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Patreon chat episode version of Looper. I am Looper.
I'm Looper. I'm Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I am also Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but I look like Bruce Willis. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Looper. Let me get a
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
You certainly do. I'm turning this off.